Hello, everyone. This is Tom Coy, Covenant Pastor at the Milden Presbyterian Church in Sharps, Virginia. Welcome. If you're a member or a friend of Milden, welcome. If you're not a friend, not a member, but you are simply interested in what is being shared in these broadcasts, welcome. I'm so glad you're all listening in on this. The midweek meditation takes place weekly, and today is Wednesday, January 20th, 2021. We often are engaged in a series in this broadcast, and our current set of subjects is no exception. We are engaged in a series on the Lord's Prayer, which is universally a prayer that is said by Christians around the world, regardless of denomination, whether you're Orthodox or whether you're Catholic or Protestant or whatever. The Lord's Prayer is a very important part of our worship. After all, Jesus said, "Pray like this" in Matthew chapter 6, and he goes on to share the words of the Lord's Prayer. Last week we started out with the beginning, the introduction, which is Our Father, which art in heaven. And today we now move on to the next part. Jesus moves now to the first petition. A petition, by the way, is another word for prayer request. And we all are familiar with prayer requests. Please pray for. Well, that is a petition. That is a petition. The request in particular is, "Hallowed be thy name." Like all observant Jews, Jesus respects the Ten Commandments, the third of which says, "Do not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain." So he urges his followers to honor God's name by hallowing it. Now, this term may be a little strange to our ears. It's an old word and not used much anymore. I'm talking about hallowed, of course, or hallowed. The only exceptions seem to be in the Lord's Prayer, the annual celebration of Halloween, and a single reference in Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, "We cannot hallow this ground." I'm reminded of the little boy who announced to his parents one day that he had learned God's name in church, in fact, God's first name. "What is it?" they asked, fully expecting him to say, "Jesus." The reply was, "Harold." "Harold," they said. "Yes," he responded. "It's in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name." A cute story, but it sort of underlies the oddness of the word. So what does hallow mean? Hallow was much more familiar when the King James Bible was written in 1611. It had evolved from the Middle English hallowen, which itself had come from the Old English hallogan, which meant to make holy. So to hallow is to sanctify, to set apart, to revere. According to Jesus, God's name is special, not ordinary. It is to be used with the same care as when one handles fine china, or touches the Hope Diamond, or holds a newborn baby. Yes, we do have a right to speak to God at any time, but hallow cautions us to never forget what that means. Few of us have ever had an audience with the President of the United States or the Queen of England. And yet we are invited daily to meet with one who is far greater than either of these. Hallowed be thy name reminds us that this is a privilege, and what a precious and exquisite honor it is. Holy be thy name. Well, that is our first petition, but there are many more. So that's all for today. Tune in next week, and we will move on to our next petition, Thy kingdom come. Until then, take care and God bless.